Hello and welcome to another video. My name is Boxiest, and today we're going to continue the What If series. What if events had gone differently? And in this What If, we're going to change the history of Cobra Kai. What if Terry Silver saved Daniel from Johnny instead of Mr. Miyagi during the events of the Karate Kid? So in this timeline, the events of the Karate Kid would still happen, Daniel would still move to the valley, and he would still be invited to the beach party. Those events would stay the same, and at the beach, Daniel would still talk to Ali, and much like in the original timeline, Johnny and the rest of the Cobra Kais would still show up. Johnny would still want to talk to Ali, and Daniel would still want to get involved, and those events would carry on. The rivalry between Daniel and Johnny would still be formed, and Johnny and the rest of the Cobra Kais would continue to pick on Daniel. Those events would carry on. And the night of the Halloween dance, Daniel would still spray Johnny with the water hose, so Johnny and the rest of the Cobra Kais would be mad, and they would still go after Daniel. And in this timeline, Terry Silver would be in the valley, and he would be walking around at night. This is when Daniel would run past him, along with the rest of the Cobra Kais, and he would see that Daniel was in trouble. So in this timeline, Terry would want to save Daniel, so he would follow Daniel and the Cobra Kais. Johnny and the Cobra Kais would still catch up to Daniel, and they would start to beat him up. But in this timeline, Terry Silver would approach them, and he would tell the Cobra Kais to let Daniel go, but Johnny would tell Terry to mind his own business. But Terry wouldn't want to back down, so the Cobra Kais would have no choice but to attack Terry Silver. So Terry would start fighting the Cobra Kais, and he would manage to take some of them down. Terry would recognize some of the Cobra Kai moves, and he would realize that he was fighting the Cobra Kais, and he would attack Johnny, and he would manage to take him down. Johnny would get back up, and he would want to continue fighting Terry. Terry would like Johnny's aggression, and he would use his moves against him, and he would eventually manage to take Johnny and the rest of the Cobra Kais down. Terry would take Daniel to a hospital, and at the hospital, Danny would thank Terry for saving him, and Danny would tell Terry about the Cobra Kais. So the next day, Terry would take Daniel to the Cobra Kai dojo, and Kreese would be surprised to see Terry. Johnny would tell Kreese that it was Terry that beat them up. Kreese would want to talk to Terry, and he would ask him why he beat up his students. So Terry would explain that he was saving the kid. Kreese would ask if Daniel wasn't man enough to fight his own battles, but Terry would explain that Daniel had no training. But this is when Terry would have an idea. He would bet that he could train Daniel just in time for the All Valley. Terry would say that it could be a friendly wager, Kreese's students versus his. Kreese would be intrigued, and he would accept. Terry would also add that they leave Daniel alone to train, and Kreese would introduce Terry Silver to his students as one of the founders of Cobra Kai, and one of the most ferocious fighters in the history of the sport. The Cobra Kai students and Daniel would be surprised. Terry would say that he was impressed by the skills that he saw last night, and he would tell Kreese that he trained his students well. Terry and Danny would leave, and the events of the Karate Kid would carry on. Danny would go to Terry Silver's house to train. Terry would train Danny on the Quicksilver method, and he would also train him to strike first, strike hard, and show no mercy. Terry would also hire Snake and Dennis to help Daniel train, so Danny would use the Quicksilver method against them, and Danny would become more aggressive. Terry would tell Daniel that he has the potential to be a champion. He would say that Lawrence was Kreese's best student, but to be honest, he doesn't see it. He would say that Daniel has the potential to be the best, so Daniel and Terry would continue training, and the night of the All Valley, Danny would compete, and he would start winning his matches. He would fight aggressively, and he would use the Quicksilver method against his opponents. Daniel and Bobby would still make it to the semifinals, but in this timeline, Daniel would defeat him. So Daniel and Johnny would fight in the finals. Daniel and Johnny would both be fighting with offense, and Danny would try using the Quicksilver method against Johnny, but Johnny would be prepared. It would be a close match, but in the end Johnny would defeat Daniel, so Johnny would be the 3-time All Valley champion. Terry would congratulate Kreese over his victory. Kreese would see that Daniel had the potential to be a Cobra, so he would offer Daniel a place in Cobra Kai. So in this timeline, Daniel would join Cobra Kai, and that is where I'm gonna end this What If. Thank you guys for watching. What do you guys think would have happened if Terry Silver saved Daniel from Johnny during the events of the Karate Kid? Let me know in the comments below. YouTube lets me know that the majority of you are not subscribed, so if you guys could subscribe, that would be much appreciated. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like this video, subscribe, and turn on post notifications. And I'll see you guys next time.